you testified you were Roman Catholic. Isn't it true that in the 90s you were actually part of First Christian Church?
I was.
That's not a Catholic church, is it?
No, at the time I was married to a preacher.
It was recently. All right. So on the photos then, according to your testimony, and tell me if I'm wrong here, everything went pretty smoothly. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
And you were pretty positive at the time that you were doing the right thing. Would that be true?
I was doing what risk management asked us to do, yes.
Because risk management told you to do it, right?
Yes.
We'll get into that in a moment. But really, though, you felt that the whole thing you did was very unfortunate. Isn't that true?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, do you remember your deposition of January 30th, 2019?
Can you refresh my memory?
Sure. Yeah, I'm coming. I actually have it on video, but... Looking for my page number, sorry. Sorry, I have it right here. They're going to find the page number, and I'll move right back. But, so we're certain you felt that this was, is that it? Sorry. 230. Page 232, line 8 to 235, line 4. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm sorry, did you say 232?
232 to 235.
232 to 235.
You wanted to read 4 pages. Objection, Your Honor, it's improper impeachment.
Well, she asked to refresh her recollection, so right now I think we're talking about refreshing recollection,
Okay.
not impeachment.
Where am I
It's
starting?
fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Having now read that sworn testimony, would you like to correct or change the testimony you just gave the jury?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the way the question's phrased.
Having had your recollection refreshed, would you agree that you stated unfortunately as to the photo session?
So I think it's always an unfortunate thing when we have to do something like that.
And Maya did not want you to do it, did she?
She did not.
She was crying, was she
She
not?
wasn't crying.
She was very upset.
She was upset.
And she kept telling you no.
She did not.
You sure she didn't say no? And where did you get permission to do this?
I'm not sure.
Objection, Your Honor. Reapproach.
Did you have, sorry, Judge, did you have any permission from her parents?
We didn't have permission from her parents. We had permission from DCF, who was actually at that point the guardian of the child.
Well, the parents still had rights to the medical care, did they not?
They had rights to the medical care.
All right. So why were you doing this? Was this for medical care, or was this for some other reason?
So Dr. Danielson wanted to make sure and document her skin, the condition of it, before she left the hospital and when she came back.
I thought you just said it wasn't for medical reasons.
It's not medical reasons.
Okay. Well, would you agree the parents still had their medical rights?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Would you agree that it's against the Johns Hopkins Bill of Patients' Rights to not obtain that consent to a procedure?
So once the child's placed in
Is that a yes
DCF
or no?
custody,
And you need to answer the question that's actually asked.
so it depends.
It depends on what?
So once the child was placed in DCF custody, any permission that I needed to get, I got from DCF. That's how that works.
Well, the jury will read the orders, but the orders state that the parents can still have medical control. You understand that?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for legal conclusion.
Sustained.
Would it refresh your recollection? And have you seen the court's?
No, objection.
All right. You admit that you put Maya on your lap, do you not?
I do.
And are you a member of the National Association of Social Workers?
I'm not a member of the National Association of Social Workers, no.
Were you at the time of your deposition in
I may
2019?
have, yes.
And you had to adhere to their code of ethics?
Yes.
And are you aware of what their code of ethics say as to physical contact with a child?
I'm not, I don't know exactly what they
Would it
say
refresh
today.
your recollection if I showed you?
Sure.
May I approach?
Do you have can I
Yes,
see
it's
your
section
approaching?
1.
Can you just show it to her?
It's in evidence.
Can I see it? Thank you. You're not allowed to see it?
I've read it.
Would you agree that you as a social worker should not engage in physical contact with and was Maya a client?
She was a patient.
Okay. Would you agree that you should not engage in physical contact with a patient when there's a possibility of psychological harm to them?
So Maya was very upset.
Yes or so? Yes or no?
Well, it depends.
All right. Social workers who engage in appropriate physical contact are responsible for setting clear, appropriate, and culturally sensitive boundaries that govern such physical contact, correct?
Correct.
And you did not.
I feel I did.
You did not contact the parents,
No, I was asked by DCF to go in.
and a 10-year-old
Sorry, can
cannot.
you finish your answer, please?
Go ahead and finish.
I was asked by DCF to go in and tell her she wouldn't be able to go home for Christmas. She was extremely emotionally upset and crying.
That is not authorization to put a child on your lap, is it?
I don't need authorization to comfort and provide support for a little girl who just found out she's going to have to stay in the hospital through Christmas.
Didn't your code of ethics at that time say that you were supposed to establish some boundaries and get some authorization to do so?
There's nothing about authorization to do so. And providing boundaries, the boundary is that on an everyday practice, you're not doing things like that. But children often need comfort, and so we do comfort kids.
Even in circumstances where the child simply doesn't like you.
Well, that wasn't how I read the situation. Maya was often engaging with me, asked me to come in the room, she asked me to pray with her.
Then why would it be that witnesses here have said that her dislike for you was coming off in waves
Objection,
when
Your
they saw?
Honor. Misstates the evidence and improper question.
In truth, Maya did not like you at all, did she?
I don't know that. When she was
You
at the
said-
hospital, she often engaged with me. We laughed together, we played with Hopkins together, we read prayer cards together.
Maya did not like you touching her, did she?
She never told me that.
You know, you had said you were pretty confident about all of these things, what you did and didn't do. But you haven't been quite confident of these in the past, such as all of the physical contact, right? Were you allowed to kiss Maya?
No, I didn't kiss Maya.
And didn't you kiss Maya?
No.
And haven't you said before you weren't sure whether you did or not?
Yes.
And you weren't supposed to be hugging Maya, correct?
I don't know in what context that you're asking.
But you'd said before that it was, you were not sure. Is that true?
I would have to see that.
All right. And as to the dresses, were the dresses you gave, you said, were red?
Paola took up whatever dresses were there, and I delivered the rest of whatever dresses were there.
The dress involved was blue and cream. Do you understand that?
I don't.
The evidence before, testimony before this jury, that the dress involved was blue and cream.
Objection, leave.
What did you deliver a blue and cream dress
I don't
to
know.
her?
I don't know.
Was it ever in your office?
I don't know. They were in the social work office.
So if you told Jack Kowalski that you dropped off all of them and failed to drop off the cream and white dress, you would be misleading him, would you not?
Objection, argumentative.
I dropped off all the dresses that we had, and Paola dropped off what dresses that she had.
As to supervision of FaceTime, you weren't required to do that, were you?
We were required to bring in the tablet.
But you weren't required by the order to supervise it, were you?
Objection, calls for legal conclusion.
Overruled on that one.
So we weren't required. Can I see my note?
Well, you want to see the 27th order,
Oh,
December
sure.
27th order?
Sure.
What date are you referring to?
December 27th. May I
I'm
approach
certain,
her?
Mr. Anderson, what it is that you are attempting to show her.
I'm showing her the order of December 10th, and as part of
The judge is asking us to approach.
didn't you say that these different FaceTime calls must be supervised by a social worker?
I have a time frame, Judge.
Sure, as of January 6th, 2017.
I would have to see the documentation that you're,
May I approach?
Yes.
Hey, Right.
so these are the things that I understood that they had.
No, please stop.
I have to ask a question.
Oh,
You want to put up the actual exhibit?
Yes, we can put it up. It's
Referencing.
3217-0851. It's 3217-0851.
B. Which say B. Oh, wait, practice. Oh, 851 B, please. Yeah. Mr. Anderson, can I see the exhibit number, please? Yeah, 3217-0851B. Is that what you're looking for, Mr. Anderson?
Yes. No, that is not. Do you see the second part there? Maya has FaceTime visit with her mother at 11:05 tomorrow for 30 minutes. That must be supervised by social worker, is that what it says?
yes, it does.
And at that point, it did not have to be supervised by a social worker, is that correct?
I don't know that.
Say again?
I don't know that.
Okay. Nobody ever told you what the order was?
I would have to see the order.
May I use the court's order?
Objection, Your Honor.
Not that, no.
I'll let the jury decide based on their knowledge. All right. If we could, I'd like to get to your corrective action notice, which
Hold on a
is...
second, let me see the attorneys.
Can we bring up trial exhibit 2278-036? And this is the corrective action notice. on direct examination, you spent a lot of time explaining that this was due to what, a disagreement over bringing food to someone?
Objection.
What was it?
Characterization.
What was your reasoning
So
for the confrontation on direct examination?
So Pam had told this family that she would give them a gas card for or that I would give them a gas card for $50. We weren't allowed to just give out gas cards, and this family lived really close to the hospital, so there were rules around that.
Well, ma'am, let me simply ask you, do you see anywhere in Exhibit 2278-036, and I'll show you the second page, where any of that is actually in the corrective action notice? And can we scroll up and then show the second page? You handwrote a comment, did you not?
I did.
Taking a look at that, do you see anywhere where you mentioned any of that at the time?
No, I didn't mention any of that at the time.
And this was apparently your third time, was it not, with having confrontations with people?
Objection.
Not that I'm aware of.
Didn't you say that you have to be counseled on 2 prior occasions regarding professional behavior among colleagues?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, take a look under previous counseling corrective action. Kathy has been counseled on 2 previous occasions regarding professional behavior among colleagues.
I don't know what that's about.
You just can't remember those?
I don't remember that.
Now, after this, was there any change in your status with Maya Kowalski?
No.
So risk management kept you on, right?
Yes.
You followed Maya Kowalski from floor to floor, did you not?
From the PICU to the 7th floor.
And you were the primary, if not only, social worker that dealt with her. True?
I was the primary. I wasn't the only social worker that dealt with her.
Didn't you ask to be on the team with Maya Kowalski?
I did not.
I'll get to it in a moment. So risk management assigned you to Maya, is that right?
It was my supervisor.
And isn't it true you were researching, I got to approach on this question. You asked to follow Maya, did you not?
No, Edith Gunter asked me to stay on the case. She was my supervisor.
Can we bring up 2123-010? If you look down, it says I'll continue to follow, and then does it say there that one of your, who was Nina Bagby Bishop?
She was the 7th floor social worker.
All right. And did she tell you that she thought you were wanting to continue to follow this child?
She did.
And isn't it true you wanted to continue to follow this child?
No, I didn't, but I was asked to follow this child, but I wasn't going to tell Nina that this was something that had been discussed between Edith and I. That wasn't appropriate or professional at that point.
According to your corrective action, you were complaining that you had responsibilities on 2 different floors. Is that right?
Yes,
And that was putting you under a great deal of stress.
it was.
And you still asked to be on Maya's case, did you not?
I didn't
Question
ask.
asked and answered.
I didn't ask to be on Maya's case. Edith Gunter asked me to continue with the case. She was my supervisor at the time.
And again, after this, you were still kept on Maya's case, were you not?
I was.
Maya did not want you around her, did she?
She did not portray that to us.
Risk management was deeply involved in all of this, is that right?
Objection, vague.
In your supervision of Maya.
Objection.
Now that he clarified it, I'll overrule the objection.
So I don't know that deeply involved. There were certainly pieces of it that were directed by risk management, but I don't know that deeply involved is the right wording.
You remember giving your deposition on January 30th?
Yes, I do.
And you remember I'm going to have to come back to this too. Is it true that you had no training in CRPS at the time you were assigned?
That's true.
So you would not be able to notice any symptoms from the point of view of knowing what a CRPS symptom was.
Well, that wouldn't be my role.
Is that true?
That wouldn't be my role.
Okay. And you testified that Maya was yelling and used a bad word, I think, asshole or a-hole or something like that. What drugs was she on at that time?
I'm not aware of what drugs she was on.
And why is it through the rest of this period of time, or the rest of the time of the hospital, after this period of time, there isn't a single reference to any of this behavior? Yelling, cursing, anything like that?
So in your notes, we're putting down things that are necessary for the other team members to see and to know what to do. There certainly are times that people become very upset, very agitated. Parents might yell at us. Parents might be very demeaning. Kids might be very demeaning, but it's not stuff that we're going to put in the chart on a routine basis. It's just not. That's not the place for it.
Well, I'm simply asking you one question. Why is it that no other person in that hospital after this date ever said anything about Maya acting out with cursing and yelling language?
I can't speak to anybody else.
Right? And I believe you said that. Do you have the chapel? Or, deposition? Testimony?
Yes.
I'm not sure this is it, but let me see. But in fact, the chapel was the only place that did not have a video camera. True?
Patients' rooms didn't have a video camera. The chapel didn't have a video camera. That's true.
And didn't you testify previously that you were in the chapel with Maya when taking a call,
You'd have to refresh my memory. I don't know about that.
where it opened up, the phone opened up, and you were on it in the chapel with Maya?
I don't recall that.
Let me show you pages 142 through 145 of your deposition.
No, that's not her, no.
May I approach you?
No, Your Honor, when we approach.
Haven't you testified that you never went in the chapel?
We went in the chapel. Maya did a court hearing from the chapel with her attorney at one point.
So you were in the chapel with Maya at one point?
I was with her attorney.
I thought you said on direct that you were never in the chapel, period.
I'm sorry. I was never in the chapel alone with Maya.
You, can we bring up 1001-2026? And here you were criticizing Beata, were you not? Look at the middle of the page.
No, I wasn't criticizing anyone.
All right. Did you not say that you had been following her for 2 years? Didn't follow Johns Hopkins recommendations over 2 years?
I did state that.
You never talked to Dr. Kreisman, did you?
I talked to Dr. Kreisman frequently.
You didn't talk to any of the outside physicians before making that statement, did you?
I talked to, for this statement, I probably followed up or looked at the chart and look to see what was happening, because we would do a chart review.
But nowhere in the chart does it say that, does it?
I can't tell you that. I wouldn't have put that unless that was something that was presented to me or something that I saw in the chart review.
In fact, you did not follow up with a single one of the doctors to find out what the reasons for, or even if she did resist this transfer, Johns Hopkins recommendations.
I'm not sure of your question.
If you were so close to Maya, why is it that so many people, including Maya, said, strike it? Maya strongly disliked you, did she not?
She didn't present that in the hospital.
Sustained on us and answer.
I'm going to let the jury ask some questions for a moment.
Actually, Ms. Crowell's telling me if you are finished with your questions. Are you finished, Mr. Anderson?
For now, yes, Judge.
Nothing at this time.
So it will be the jury's time if the jury has any questions. Do you still have questions coming? Ask that you do not discuss this case amongst yourselves. You do no investigation, receive no information, and we'll call you back in a few minutes.
All rise. Jurors